Yeah. Hi everyone. Today we have Tadas. He is from Lithuania, but he moved to America since he were 5. Now he lives in Chicago. He works for a Fortune 500 company. And now, today he is here to talk about Flutter and also about his road in being a developer. How are you, Tadas?
I'm good, Francesco. Thank you for having me. And yeah, Francesco pretty much explained it. I have a YouTube channel called Amateur Coder, and it's mostly about all Flutter. And yeah, during the day I work with truck software, with embedded C, and then at night I make YouTube videos for Flutter people. So that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we'll talk about Flutter later, but first of all, I'd love to hear your story because I think that this could be interesting for someone before getting into Flutter. And I want to hear both of them, but let's start with how you became a developer, what inspired you, everything you want.
So that's the one thing I don't talk about much because my story is pretty boring. It's like everybody has this cool story, and
I want to hear it anyway.
No, I'll tell it. But like, yeah, you know how all those people are like, oh, I'm self-made at like 30. I made the switch and everything. My story is I went to college. I didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to be an engineer. I didn't know what kind of engineer I wanted to be. I decided I went through my first semester kind of looking around. I decided I wanted to be a computer engineer, and that's what I did. And then I got a job, and then I ended up being a software guy. But I think the cooler journey is how I started my that's all like very traditional software development with embedded C and like computer engineering. But like there's a big contrast from that and then the YouTube videos I make, because YouTube videos are Flutter and like mobile app development, which is completely different from developing truck software. So I started that. Second, I never really wanted to have a full-time job just because I don't know. It's just not, I didn't like the whole concept of being like restricted on what you're doing and things like that. So I knew that for a long time, but I never got really serious about it until the last semester of college. And then the last semester of college, I just went like full-blown like learning how to make my first idea was creating a social network, which is one of like the biggest, like hardest programs you could write. So I learned how to do HTML, CSS, JavaScript, like jQuery, PHP, all that stuff. Like I made the full website, and then I realized that it's a lot harder to make a website because I was having a lot of difficult features and I needed multi-threading. And I'm like, all right, I got to take a step back and learn some more before I keep going with this. Then I started working with Ioniq, which is another framework similar to Flutter.
I've used it sometimes.
Yeah.
That sometimes.
So I created I decided to start making the app on there, and then
maybe I've used the version 4. I've been through all the idea of capacitor. The idea. Of that, if you want to explain this a little bit, maybe it's better than if you explain that. But I've tried it sometimes. I also would like to hear the difference between Ioniq and Flutter. So please let me explain, because I've just published one application on the Google Play Store in my case, but I've used the Unity. It's going pretty well. It has almost 1,000 downloads, but I'd like to try some new technologies. So I'm really interested to hear that.
So my experience with the Ioniq is actually it was pretty short. I started working with it, and I was making a couple apps, and then the difference between at that point with Ioniq and Flutter was Ioniq was just a web overlay like on top of your app. So like when you built the app and everything, it was just like a website pretty much, but within an app environment. And that causes it to run slower on like mobile devices and everything. And then I saw Flutter.
Yeah, it's something called the web view, maybe.
Yes, web view.
Okay. Yeah.
So I worked with it a little bit. It worked fine at that point, but then I saw Flutter came out, Well, there was React Native and Flutter. When I was getting actually serious about it, there was React Native and Flutter, and those were like the two ones that actually compile the program into native language for each platform.
Mm.
And then React Native was definitely bigger at the time, but I personally dislike Facebook a little bit, and they created a React Native, so that's when I chose Flutter. And then I've been working with it, and it's been growing a lot, and I'm happy with that choice. And then that's when I started making Flutter apps, and I started making my my social media app in Flutter, and I was like working pretty hard on it. I was about to release it. I beta tested like 3 times. I was about to release it, and then I decided to start a YouTube channel, and then I kind of forgot about it after that. But I've learned a lot about Flutter since then, and I think I should probably redo some of the things in there because it's not that great of an app right now. So
yes, yeah. So a bit, if you want to talk a little bit more, maybe for someone who really doesn't know that. So also me, I don't know that Flutter. I tried maybe just a couple of days. So if you want to introduce maybe for someone who's kind of really new to this technology, where could he or she start from? Which way? Yeah.
Well,
That's what
the best resource is definitely the Amateur Coder channel on YouTube. So
yeah.
But
because I see that your YouTube channel is kind of focused on this topic.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is what I'd like to make for Docker, for example. So stick on one topic, make some videos on that topic. There are some people which are really nice that can make different topics on tech on the same time. I admire them, but I'd like to prefer to stick on something like what you are doing. That yeah, for example, when I asked you to come here to talk, I think about Flutter. I think about you. I think this is interesting. It's something.
Yeah, from what I've done some like research and stuff, and it seems like in order to get started on YouTube, you kind of need to niche down a lot. Like you need to make sure you have a very specific thing, because that's how people will find you like in other places. For you, it's a little bit, you still have some people from Twitter that are coming over, so you're doing just fine. But like at the beginning, for when I started from like completely zero, like that was my first, I didn't use social media at all before that. And that was my very first thing. And I was obviously nervous at all. I didn't like interact with people online. And then
yeah. When did you publish your first video? Do you remember that?
January this year.
January this year. Oh.
Yeah. January 15th, I believe.
So less than 1 year. Less than 1 year.
Yeah. 9 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. That's great.
Yeah. Not too bad for zero, but
I started in August and without not related to coding videos, but now it's almost 3 months. But yeah, and I've talked with many people right now that I don't think. Do you think that the quarantine, this lockdown situation, helped you in some ways by being forced being at home to have maybe you had some free time? For example, in my case, it was like that. I chose to use that time to focus on one new skill, for example.
Well, for me, I guess it didn't change that much. I think I still I stayed home a lot during before quarantine and then after. But I guess the nice thing was that I started working from home, so I didn't have to drive to work or anything. So you save a little bit of time there, and I think it definitely helped a little bit. But I started the channel before.
So you already had this idea before everything. Yeah, in January.
It was like 1 to 2 months before I started, and then it went to that, and then I mean, I guess it definitely helped a little bit, but it wasn't anything drastic.
Yeah, and I've seen many videos. So you have released quite kind of a lot of videos because I've seen many. Yeah,
I tried to do 2 a week at the beginning, and I switched to 1 a week for a little bit of time, and I'm planning to go back to 2 a week, and then my actual plans are to actually broaden the scope of the channel now. So it was just focused on Flutter, but I see a lot of people struggle with like a lot of the issues people bring up for Flutter. They're not just specifically Flutter issues. They're more coding in general for issues like object-oriented programming issues. So I want to take that and like show core like programming concepts as well as Flutter too.
Yeah, but I think there's always time to switch topic if you don't want to talk about that anymore. I think that there's always time. Yeah, because I think, for example, in my case, I do videos related to Docker, but this is not the only thing that I work on, for example. So it's kind of different to choose to make some videos about one topic and study that topic. So there are a lot of topics that I study every day, but I don't make videos about that, for example. So I will start, but I've decided to stick on one topic for videos, for tech videos. And then all these kind of video calls kicked in. It was kind of random because I started with Adrian. Yeah, you know him pretty well.
Yeah, Adrian, I'm a big fan.
And he just also told on Twitter to subscribe to my channel. So I thank him very much. Yeah, it was very nice that he commented this video. I did one video with Raf before, Raf Rosenberg. We didn't record that, but we did one later that we recorded. Then Adrian commented like, "Oh, this was kind of nice." I told to him, "Oh, tell me when we are up to do this," and he said, "Right, okay, let's do it right now." And we did it. And if you check the first video is kind of bad quality for me. I also talked about him so many times because I was really not a journalist. I'm still not, but so this started quite randomly. I was focused on other things, but
I think it's a really good idea. And then also with like the whole YouTube journey, things come with practice. So like the more you do this, the more you're gonna become that journalist.
It's strange that sometimes, maybe I'm experiencing this because I didn't even know this. One person on Twitter told me, "Oh, you'll see that some ideas could pop out of your mind. If you are a YouTube channel, you can think, okay, I could do a video about this." So this is kind of powerful, I think. I didn't know about this. That it's good when you find one topic and you choose to make something. Yeah, I mainly did this to make my fingers relax a little bit because I was a bit tired of chatting on Twitter all day long. So at least I'll use them just for coding, and then we can. Yeah, it's a different way
for the actual programming.
Exactly. And yes, and so it's also a different way of communication. Also for me to get a little bit used about that. So that's it.
I think it's also really, I've watched a couple of those videos. I think I watched a little bit of most of them.
Yeah.
I think a couple of them I watched the whole way through, but it's nice to put like a voice and a face to all the like Twitter people that you see as well. So I really like that part.
It's a different way of communication. I love to have this kind of calls. Even when I stop recording, I keep talking for other minutes that we don't record because it's all those people that I already know. Then I'll see in the future. So back to Flutter. I'd like to ask you, what do you think is the current state, the future of it? Because I'm interested into if you know in which direction they are going. Do you think they are going in the right direction in the future and next couple of years? What do you think about that?
I'll get to that too, but I realized I never answered the question about where to learn about Flutter truthfully too. I mean, my channel works, but also I just wanted to mention that flutter.io, that's the main website. They have really good, they're called code labs, I think, or cookbooks or something along those lines. And they like walk you through how to build a complete app. And that's like, I mean, it's from the Flutter team, so that's the official good way to write apps.
So official documentation and your videos. So
like, I'm in the official documentation
It's the same answer that I say that when people ask me about Docker. It's the same.
Yeah.
So documentation and my videos, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think as far as how Flutter's doing, where it's going, I think so. I think the big break for Flutter. Well, also it's doing really good right now. It's number 6 in GitHub stars. I don't know if that really matters too much to most people, but it's above React Native and everything like that. So that's pretty good.
It's not a race, but it's a
Yeah,
metric. It's a metric. Sometimes I do some tweets about the most started repositories on GitHub, and people keeps kicking in and say, "Oh, but the stars doesn't matter." I know, but it's a metric about okay, maybe someone noticed that. Yeah, so it's a good metric
and then
to see if
yeah,
people
so I think
like that.
yeah, and then I think the big break for Flutters will be when Flutter you can make websites with Flutter already. I'm actually making my own current website with Flutter right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then but it's still in beta, so it's not released. Just there's multiple Flutter channels. There's a stable, beta, alpha, some other one, I don't know. And then once it's released as stable, that's kind of how you know that it's like release, right? So they have Flutter Web is still in beta. So I think once that comes out, and you can make a phone app and a website with the same code, and Flutter also provides really good ways to make your apps responsive. So you can literally make one app for every single like screen and website. I think that's going to be a pretty big game changer. And then also in alpha right now is Windows and Mac and Linux apps as well for Flutter. And embedded C. I think Sony, the company, started using Flutter for their embedded software too. So I think it has a lot of room to grow still, and it's just getting started.
Yeah. For example, I've tried Ioniq, for example, with Angular. I've tried some years ago, or maybe last year. Maybe they started from making websites, and then they try to make apps. Everything all right? Yeah.
What? Something is. Oh, Siri's talking to me right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, who's talking?
Okay. I didn't hear that, but yeah. No, I think I don't know if I am saying right things, but for example, with Angular, I've seen that you can of course make a website responsive, but then when you get into mobile apps, you need to get something like Ioniq to create an app using Angular. Is that correct? So I think if I understood this well, Flutter did the reverse thing. So they started from apps, and then they are trying to let you make websites. Is that correct?
I think yes. So like that's their approach. Their first approach was to make the apps work fine, but I think they had in mind from the beginning. Well, I don't even work there, so I don't know. But it seems like I think their goal from the beginning was to make sure it works on everything. It wasn't just focused on just mobile. Because the very concept of it is just removing all the like things necessary for each platform and just basically creating widgets. And you just place widgets, you create a widget tree, and you can do that on any platform, whether it's Windows, Mac. And I think they kept that in mind. They tried to perfect the mobile part first, and now they're working on. Well, so they're still working on mobile. There's a lot of things going on there, and then I'm excited for the web to be stable too next. And then,
okay, and sorry for this very new question, but which language do you use or can you use with Flutter?
So I think that's the biggest thing stopping people from using Flutter is because it uses the Dart language. So personally, the Dart has become my favorite language, but it's also a little thing you got to get over when you start with Flutter because it is a new language. However, it's really easy to learn. It's very similar to Java and C# if you've worked with it, and the syntax is pretty easy. And once you start working with it, I think you'll get used to it pretty fast. But it is a little hump to get over at the beginning because new language and new framework. But there are also a lot of good courses on Dart and everything. So
Yeah, but I've talked with many people who use Dart and they are happy about it. So I think that I've almost never met someone who says, "Oh, I use the Dart and I don't like it." I've met a lot of people who, included me, who has never really used the Dart, but the one who use that, they are quite happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really great language. I think it makes things, doesn't overdo it in any part. It makes things simple, but there is still some features that we like. There's some features that could take it to the next level. So coming out soon for Dart is null safety. So pretty much now your code won't compile if there's no problems. And then the next big thing, so Kotlin has like data classes, which is really nice. And people are really big fans of that, of Kotlin. I think if they brought into Dart, like data classes as well into Dart, then I don't see why anybody would dislike it. I don't know.
Nice. Okay, but and do you suggest to start with Dart and then move to Flutter, or you just use Flutter while learning Dart? What do you suggest? What
I say depending on your experience, because I get a lot of questions, like I said at the beginning, that aren't necessarily Flutter specific, they're coding specific. And if you have really good base in coding, like if you work with Java or something like that for a long time, I think you can probably just watch a couple or go through the syntax really quick and be able to start directly with Flutter. But if you are new to programming, definitely make sure you go through Dart first.
Okay.
Because like a lot of the issues I see are with programming itself, not with Flutter. So make sure you know the language, make sure you know how coding works, and then jump into a framework that helps you out.
Yeah, because a lot of times I get questions like, how could I make web mobile application? So question like this. So if they maybe ask about Flutter, I'll of course they'll tell them to contact you. But meanwhile, maybe I could suggest something like that, because maybe I think that sometimes people tend, even me in the past, let's don't lose time, just get into the framework. And then, but if you get stuck, you lose way more time. So that you could use that time to have some pretty solid basics. Not so much, but what do you need to start learning without stopping? If you get stuck, when you start a framework, maybe you should stop, get a step back, take a couple of tutorials, then maybe build something, of course, and then move on. Because
so I watched this video yesterday by this guy named Retro Portal on YouTube. He was talking about the biggest problem with Flutter right now, and if you boil it down, the whole video, he said his biggest problem is it's too easy to build apps that people don't really learn about how to code before, and they run it, and then once I guess it's easy to build something simple because all you do is just put some widgets together and it makes it. But if you're just starting out, you go directly into that. You don't learn about how coding actually works, how state management works, how the app lifecycle works like that. You're gonna run into a lot of issues building a real app, and because they made it too easy to start.
I don't know. Maybe it's marketing from there to get the people getting started. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they should focus a bit more on tutorial and maybe something. Yeah, because maybe there is this gap that we all know that the Hello World application, they works, because if you do any tutorial you want on any topic you want, it works because it's meant to work without any issue. That's it. And then there is that gap that you want to build something yours, something little custom. If you don't know, I don't think that if you don't really know how it works under the hood, you could get stuck maybe hours, days.
Yeah, if you don't find the answer on Stack Overflow, you're just left with that.
Yeah, and you say, oh, this framework sucks. This framework is
Yeah.
not good. It's not for me. I don't know. I can't understand everything. It seems so easy in the beginning.
Yeah.
So maybe you need to feel this. Maybe I think in your videos, I watched some of them, but I think that you maybe help people to do this jump, do this step.
That's my goal for all my videos is to get to people to actually understand what's going on behind the code, not just because I think that's what maybe sets me apart a little bit from the other Flutter YouTubers. I mean, so a lot of them are great. Like they do a better job at what I'm trying to do as well. But there's I think a big chunk of YouTubers that just show you what you need to do in order to make something show up or something. They don't actually tell you what's going on behind the scenes and how it's actually working. And I don't know if you've checked my last few videos. I don't expect you to, but I'm just those I didn't even like 75% of those videos have no code in them really. And the 2 videos ago, like it's just drawing out diagrams, what's going on behind. Like the first one was what a widget actually is and like how it works. And then this last one was about how it renders onto a screen. So you can understand more about, so if you know the basic principle of Flutter, it's just like a tree of widgets and you just build stuff out for you. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you don't know, and that could affect how you write your apps and things like that. So
yeah, I find this quite similar to what I'll try to do. Maybe next videos for me is Docker. Yeah, that maybe I think you have pretty solid knowledge about Flutter because maybe you studied for I don't know years. Maybe I don't know when it was released.
I think like 2.5 years now.
Yeah, almost the same for me for Docker. Yeah, and maybe the idea is to help people to understand things, maybe just with maybe little examples, but yeah, I think it's important to make them understand what happens. Yeah.
Like so if you all the videos before that, you'd see every app we made was really simple. Like there wasn't anything fancy in there. Like we're trying to show off some state management. People might make a whole like app like that works, and then you get confused with that code. But if you keep it simple, concise, and I think that's the best way, at least I learn, and it seems like that's some people learn better that way too. Obviously, some people might learn better the other way, but
of course, no, I really like your style. I'd like to do something like that. So yeah, I've also followed your journey in the latest months. I see you grow. I see that you started to use YouTube in a professional way. I wish you luck for anything, even if sometimes we say, okay, you can't do that. That's of course there are jokes. Yeah, I wish you like that because I know that there's a big effort behind. Yeah, I don't know how many times it happened to you to re-record something. It happened to me a lot of times, especially in the beginning. I think it's quite.
That's the worst.
It's quite hard.
When you mess up something, you got to re-record it. You got to figure out how to put it in. You're like, oh my god. But another nice thing about like having a YouTube channel, though, I noticed is like, so you can't always remember everything. And the way I teach, like I said, is the best way that I understand things. So whenever I forget something, I just go to my channel. I knew I made a video on it, and I can explain it better to myself than anybody else could explain. So it's like tutorials for myself at the same time.
Yeah, and you also comment, oh, thank you very much. It was very, very clear, very, very clear. Thank you so much.
Video,
this was really what I was looking for. Yeah. I think sometimes YouTubers and also other people who make courses, they use them as a reference for themselves in the future, because maybe they move on, they start learning something new, and then to have the sort. It happened to me, for example, videos I've done, not many Docker videos, but for example, sometimes I do some tweets about Docker, and it happened to me way more than one time that I go to check them because maybe I needed to see how do that thing. So I have a repository on GitHub when I have all of them, all the links on the Twitter, on the Docker tips. sometimes I look for them. Okay, I need this, and I check it again. So yeah, this happened to me already. So
I was gonna ask you how you like even found them, because they get lost like really quick. But you got your GitHub.
I usually use a name for the tweet. I use just a table on GitHub. There's a repository on GitHub, and you can just look for the name, and I hope to get lucky. Usually, yeah. So okay, and what are your plans for the future? Do you plan your future? How many years? How many years ahead do you plan your life?
Well, I probably don't plan more than like 2 years ahead for specific stuff, but I got a lot of big ideas coming soon. Well, for example, I mean, the fastest one is going to be in a couple weeks. I think I will be stepping back up to 2 videos a week on the channel. So like I said, doing more general stuff as well, because I think that's the important part that a lot of Flutter developers and overall people overlook, and they like the way some people like the way I explain things. So I feel like that'll definitely help them out. Then actually, I'm thinking about starting a second channel already.
Wow!
So
and the year hasn't ended yet. So
no,
you want to start 2 channels in 1 year? Yeah.
Well, so the second one would be more. So the thing that makes it kind of hard with this one is I push myself to do weekly videos. So every Friday I have a video coming out, and then when I get back to 2 a week, it's going to be every Tuesday and Friday. So that's the toughest part. But the second one, so I really like learning things overall, like coding. I've put this in a tweet before. I don't really think myself as specifically a developer. I think I just really like to learn about everything, and being a developer makes it really easy because all you need is a computer, and you could have infinite stuff you could learn. Like you're never going to learn everything about programming. You can keep learning. Like let's say I like learning and working on cars too. But for that, you need to buy parts. You need to you spend money. You need a garage. You need all this stuff in order to do something with cars. But for coding, you're just doing whatever you want. So I wanted to create a second one because just to basically create a channel about learning overall, like on things that aren't coding related. So I wanted to learn about how cameras work, because I got my camera and like it kind of blows my mind. I'm like, how the hell does this thing work? Like, how do you just click a button? I have like the basics of it, but like, how does a lens work? I have no idea. So I want to do some research, look into that, and then I feel like it would interest some people at least to learn about stuff like that as well. And then also I wanted to be able to do more, just not have more freedom than to just be coding channel, like a coding tutorial channel. Like let's say I end up I want to do an interview with Elon Musk or something. Like I can't put that on a coding tutorial channel, because people are gonna be like, what the hell is that? But
yeah, now you know the final goal of all these videos.
Yeah. You'll get there, man.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I think that maybe it would be a good idea to start another channel, because, for example, in my case, I needed so many years to get started making videos. It was really, really hard for me to get started. I bought that camera like 10 years ago, I think, to make videos, and I started like 2 months ago. And yeah, I started with making some not coding related. Then I did something related to code. But maybe if I could go back, maybe the idea of making separate channels, maybe it's better. It's better to focus on one topic for each channel. Yeah.
So I think it could be a good idea, but also I think it's just because I'm at the point with this one that like it's not huge or anything, but it's established as a coding, and I think I still want to keep doing that, but I also want to do other things, and then that doesn't really mix together well. And this other reason that I'm starting it on a different thing is because I don't want to have it be like weekly specific thing, even though that's like good for helping you grow and everything. I want to have it just be like a creative outlet for things non-coding related. So I'll make sure I'll work on that video as long as it
Nice.
takes to make it good, and then release it at that time. And then there's a couple other things I'm working on. I'm working on a startup too for this app that I'm creating with a couple other people.
Nice.
So the goal is to hopefully release that by the end of this year, but that's a little ambitious. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we have still a bit more of time.
Yeah.
This year. Yeah, I think we have still time to plan something to get it done before the end of the year. I think
it's already started, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I don't know if you've seen on my actual Twitter that my pinned tweet is to end up to quit my job before I turn 25. So
yeah,
that's goal. That's my
I watched that. Yeah.
That's my end goal pretty much. And like I said at the beginning, that's been my goal since like forever, but I really started working towards it's the second semester of my last year of college. So hopefully I could finally achieve it.
Yeah. And so it seems that you are really pretty busy. You are working on many different areas. So thank you for having the time to come here anyway. Yeah, I appreciate it very much. Yeah, and so please follow Tadas on Twitter, subscribe to his YouTube channel. Do you have any other socials or not?
I think those are the two main ones. I have my Instagram, but I don't use it too much. Okay. And then those are the two main ones. I have my Twitch channel I just started. I just started a Twitch channel just like 2 weeks ago, I think. So
that's great.
Yeah, my plan is to do at least one live stream a week, hopefully about mostly Flutter, but we'll switch it up from time to time on different things. And then that's pretty much it. And I want to say thank you for having me. That means a lot. You bring in all these people like Danny, all this Adrian, like all the people I look up to, and then actually be on here with you too is really nice.
Yeah, I'd like to interview a lot of people. I don't know how much time I can do that, but I'm really happy to have you here today. So let's see how it goes. I wish you best luck for YouTube second channel, Twitch, your daily job, everything. I also wish you speed recovery to you and your family. Now I'd like to see one of your live streaming. So if you do one of those live streaming, please send a message to me, because maybe in the start you want just to get things set up, just to chat, to say, does the camera works? I could be there if I can to just say you something. Yeah, it would be very nice. Yes, I've tried a couple of times to do a Twitch live stream, but it was not related to call, just to see if the camera works. It's something that I'd like to make in the future, but not right now, because maybe in the future also I've postponed it a bit, but best of luck with that. I'd like to come there to learn something about Flutter, because I think that live streams really works. For example, we've seen this with Florin Pop, so live streams really works, because people comes there and they want to see you make mistakes, make jokes about you. Yeah, this is what I'd like would love to. But this could be the future, I think.
I used to do live streams on my actual YouTube channel, so there was a lot more people joining there because there's more people following. But now on Twitch, it's kind of nice, because the reason I switched to Twitch is because I think it's a lot more. It's better for a longer format. Like you don't on YouTube. If you do a live stream, it just comes up as a video right after. So if your live stream sucks, like you just have a video on there forever that sucks. But on Twitch, it goes away after a while, so you don't really got to worry about it. You don't have to I don't have to do specific things to coding as well. I could if I want to play Among Us, like I did this weekend with a couple people, Danny and all them, I could do that. And
I couldn't be there. Maybe next time. I played it maybe just a couple of times, but I'd like to be there.
You gotta play it so I can kill you, and then we'll be.
Let's see. Okay, so thank you again, Tadas. I hope to have you again. I don't know when, but I'd love to have you again in the future. Thank you again for your time, for your knowledge. Again, best of luck for everything. Okay.
Thank you very much for having me, and you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So